Hey everybody, I've been hearing some thoughts about the way the social space is evolving and shaping up, and I think people are kind of missing a couple of small, really important points, but that's causing you to think about everything exactly backwards. So let's talk about what's happening here, and I want you to understand why now is the prime time for you to make sure your presence for your business and for your brand and for your product and for your service are all online, doing things the way they're supposed to be in social. So Facebook had an IPO, we know about this a year or so ago, whenever the hell it was, and it's been up and down. I'm not really here to talk about the value of the company or even how they make money. I don't care about that. It's not important to me. Twitter is getting ready to file for their IPO and go public, and how they're going to make money is also not important to me. I mean, we know that the whole overarching theme here is, in fact, ads. Beyond that, I'm not terribly concerned with it. What I am concerned with is who that makes these companies beholden to once they go public. It's no longer Team Zuck, out there on Facebook trying to figure out, like, this looks cool, let's just see what happens. And anybody that's seen the movie, The Social Network, which granted is, a bastardization of the real story with, Hollywood inflection. But the point is that they didn't make it a business model for a long time because they wanted to just make it cool. They wanted to make it indispensable. They wanted to make it a utility. They wanted to ingrain themselves in our daily lives before they started bleeding somebody dry, whether it's advertisers or shareholders or us as users, whatever. It was about the experience first, and Twitter did the same thing, and both of them were valued huge numbers based on what they provide to us and what people will be willing to give them in hopes of a return, but they weren't really valuable in terms of actual dollars. Now, one goes public, it's about to go public, and a lot of people start saying things like they're now stuck in the rut of the traditional corporate business model. They're going to owe money to the shareholders. They're going to be worried about making money, and less about innovation, all those things. Okay, so there is some truth to that, but not entirely. So there are a couple of things that really make you think very hard about that. The first thing is that take a company like Apple, for example. Okay, they're the world's most valuable technology company. They sold 9 million iPhones in a 72-hour period. Okay, they're doing awesome in terms of their sales, their products, their numbers, but their stock is not doing great. Why? Because the 5S looked almost like the 5, except for this little ring here to the average casual viewer. Because the new iPad Air that they announced today looks like the iPad 4, but it's thinner. The MacBook Pro and the iMac, they all look the same. They just, little tweaks. And to the geeks, they're amazing. And under the hood, they're amazing. But what Wall Street and the media look for are grand changes to visual, stimulating things when we look at them, right? And other than that, they don't really see any value in it. So you take a company like Apple, doing great things, very innovative things, and Wall Street's not necessarily thrilled with it. What does that really mean? What's the point? How does that tie back to Facebook and Twitter and the social movement? Very clearly. Okay. Shareholders are going to expect these people to do things that are innovative, that constantly push that envelope, that increase the experience, enrich the experience, that you're going to have great UI changes that enforce simplicity and feature sets in the UX for the people sitting on this side of the desk, right? So expect more out of these services once Wall Street gets their mitts involved. So that's the first thing. Okay, and that's really, really important. So thinking that stagnation is going to happen because of Wall Street is actually contrary to what actually happens. Because Wall Street demands innovation, because innovation means money and ROI for shareholders. Okay, so that's really, truly important. Secondly, less innovation in certain ways is important. So it's really about a balance of the level of drastic innovation that we see and how much fine-tuning under the covers that we see. So a prime example is if you look at anything that we've had for a very long time, like the light bulb, like the combustion engine. Big changes for many, many years, and then all of a sudden, they kind of stop, right? We've got incandescent lights, we've got fluorescent lights, we've got halogen lights, we've got LEDs, right? Whatever the case. Point is that now, how much? A regular light bulb in a floor lamp, how much does that change? Not a whole lot, because it does what it's supposed to do. Right? We get those corkscrew bulbs that are energy efficient. They don't burn out, every 3 months like your regular bulbs or whatever. So there's that. The engine. Yes, we've got hybrids, we've got electric and more efficient, but the whole idea of, some sort of fuel source makes this go up and down, right? The pistons and, right? And then so on and so forth on the line, right? Is basically the same concept here, right? We've fine-tuned it. There's no need to reinvent the wheel is what we're getting at here. So take that concept of less is more in terms of radical innovation. And why is that important? Because there are 3 of my favorite quotes. And one's about radio, one's about TV, and one's about the telephone. And it's actually probably telephone, radio, TV in that order. And when you look at those, you can see, here's the first one, okay, about the telephone. Right, so take a look at this, right, and you get an idea. Okay, now let's go ahead and let me throw up that radio one for you for a second. Go ahead and take a look at that quote. Right, now let's go ahead and the last one, I'm going to bump that one up there for you. This is about TV. So I know that they're not all tagged with the exact year, but obviously this is at the beginning here, right? The early on in each of these 3 things. And what you see is that new stuff scares people. People are afraid of throwing money at things that are new because they might not stick. How many times do you hear about new products, especially technology products, and you go, I'm not going to get it right away. I'm going to wait till they work the bugs out and make sure it's good before I buy it. And that's a very common thing that you hear, okay? Why is that? Because we want to make sure we're investing our money in stability. So what a lot of people see is stagnation in the fact that Facebook has not changed drastically, little things, privacy policies and things like that. That Twitter has not changed drastically or basically at all, outside of, again, tweaks and improvements. People see it as stagnation, and I don't. I see it as maturity. Between ages... we live to, what's the average life expectancy? Let's say 80 in the U.S. Let's just make a nice round number. Between 0 and 20, you do all your growing. And then between 20 and 80, you do no growing in reality, right? Probably even less than 20. So we'll just say a quarter of your life, that all happens. It's all kind of front-loaded, right? Because then you kind of settle into the adult that you become. Your face changes very rapidly, and then it slows down, and it's always changing, but a little bit in finer increments, because again, you become the person you're going to become. I unfortunately am stuck with this now, right? Whatever. The point is that we added a lot of features, and we added value, and added value, and added value to all these things, and then we found a spot where this is what it's meant to be. That's it. And we'll improve on it, we'll make tweaks, and we'll make bars bigger and buttons smaller and pictures wider and things in greater resolution, and we'll make your life easier. But when you look at Facebook, what you see is what you're destined to see. I call that maturity, not stagnation. And that's important because once things become mature, they become solid. They become things that you can count on. They become things that you can know are going to be there for you in the way that you need them to be there. And if they're not, then they're not. But you know what you're getting. There's not going to, one day it's good and one day it's bad, and things change rapidly. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Okay? This is very, very big for marketers like myself, because all the people go, I don't know about this Facebook thing. We saw what happened with MySpace. They're not saying that anymore. Because it's obvious that Facebook is not going anywhere. Now, in the year 2050, 2100, will Facebook be around? Not likely. But it's 2013. Will it be here in 15? Yeah. In 16 and 17? Yeah. Do you need to have an advertising plan more than 5 years out? No, and you don't even need that much. A couple of years, and because a growth plan, a growth pattern. You can use the previous year to see where you came from, to see where you're going to go for the next year or two, and execute on that. And it's not carved in stone, so you can amend this, that you're not making some covenant with Facebook's ad team that you're stuck in forever. You can amend and you can change these things. And the idea is, though, we've got enough analytics leading up to where we started from to know where we're headed. All right. So this maturity is a great thing. It's a solid foundation. When's the last time you heard somebody say, I don't know about advertising and this whole television thing? We're not really sure if this is here to stay. It is here to stay. And so is the internet, and so is social media. Believe me, we're not going to revert to Web 1.0 where we just posted a bunch of static stuff, and GeoCities is not going to make a resurgence, and Angel Fire is not going to take over the 10% from WordPress, and have just a bunch of text where people just sit there, read. Okay, okay, all right, reading. That's over. It's about two-way. It's about rich media. It's about photos and videos and smartphones and conversation and comments within comments like we've seen on Facebook, right? Little things that just really make the conversation much richer, much more robust of a conversation. That's here to stay forever. So now is the time where brands are jumping in. So they go, it's not about is the water cold? You know what I mean? It's ready. Okay, it's good. Jump on in. Now's the time. Because now it's not about being first to the party on the experimental platform. It's about not being last to the party. It's about not being that one business that nobody's heard from. Remember Company A? They used to be around. They used to be the biggest people in the world, and now I don't hear from them anymore. As a real quick aside before this gets too long, Zagat, whatever you want to call it, the restaurant guide was it. I mean, they were just the leader. You want to know if a restaurant was good or for shit, you went to them, end of story, you bought the book, whatever it cost, and that was it. They said, don't go, you just didn't go. Doesn't matter what your best friend told you. And you paid for that book. And then the digital revolution started, right? Social media came around. People started talking, and apps and smartphones and geolocation, all these things. They said, but we're us, right? We've got the name, the Zagat name, the Zagat name, we've got it. Who cares? Then Yelp came around and said, yeah, but they're a free service. You get what you pay for. We are experts writing expert reviews, and you're paying for it. You can count on us. You can trust us. And then all of a sudden, Yelp starts to, like this. And they said, oh, shit, we're going to get an app out there. But we're not going to give it away. We've been doing this way too long. We know way too much. We've got way too much invested in this. You got to buy for it. And then Yelp stayed free. And why did Yelp win? Just because it was free? Not really. Because you know what? Everything that is more expensive will, in the long run, outsell the things that are cheaper because you get what you pay for. So, why did Zagat not win? Because it was one way. It was, we're telling you what to do, and you should do it because we're Zagat and we said so. Whereas Yelp is questions and answers and responses, and somebody goes, this restaurant sucks. The management goes, man, like my chef had an off night, he had the flu, so I brought in a temp guy. That's not the way it's supposed to be. Come back, it'll be great. I promise. If it's not, you come see me. And I'm there, and I went, by going, all right. So why this guy had a bad night? Like, you know what? I've had a bad day at work too. I'll give him a second shot. That's not the way it goes with the one-way guide. So do you see where we're going with this? The conversation, we can count on it now. In 2007, I was the only guy walking around one of these in my little small town, and now you'd be the only guy without one of these. Whether it's an iPhone, an Android, a Windows, God forbid, a BlackBerry, whatever. So now is the time. We've reached a point of maturation where we can trust it. Will it continue to age as it gets better? Yeah, but let me tell you something. Drink some wine a week after the grapes have been pressed. Drink it 2 weeks. It's even worse. Drink it a year, and now you've got good wine. But let it sit, and it gets better and better. Does it get as better as it did from grape juice to vinegar, and and vinegar to wine? No, but it will get better from wine going forward in small increments. So this will continue to age and get better and mature further. But the growth spurts are over. The awkward teenage phase is over. Join in. Cannot stress that enough. Stagnation doesn't exist. It's maturation. And that means that everybody's getting on board. Now it's about not being the only person that missed the fucking memo. Okay? Still takes some doing, still takes some understanding, and we can help with that here at JVIC Media. And if you don't want my help, so be it. But please do it for your business, for the industry that you're in, for the sake of social, for the sake of your customers. They're talking about your business anyway. So do it. If you need me, I'm here.